How's it going, guys? Jose back again with another video, and here we are. And today I want to talk about a post that I recently shared on my Facebook page. It's LGBTQ related, and the reason why I haven't been talking or making so many videos about this topic is because I want to learn more. In terms of history, there's so much to learn, and it's so fascinating. It's so beautiful. I feel when it comes to history, we of course we've done a lot of negative things, but there's been a lot of beautiful things too that have been left out, and people are doing their research, they're learning. We're talking about groups of people that were wiped that the colonizers tried to wipe out. You know, like you've seen what the colonizers did to the Native Americans. Native Americans had two-spirited people. You know, they knew about trans identities and things of that nature. And in those communities, the two-spirited people, people that felt like they were both a man and a woman, or people that really like expressed both masculine and feminine equally, or to some extent, like they had both of those energies. Those people, they were seen as special. They were seen as if they had a special connection to the other realm, you know, and they were regarded as that. But when the colonizers came, they got rid of that. They called those people, I forget what they called them, but they got rid of that. They said, no, this is not happening. It's only men, women, you know, and they kind of normalized heterosexuality. And you can look at any other culture, look at India, look at Asia, look at everywhere, even Africa as well. Anywhere that you look, Haiti, you look in our history, trans identities, gay identities, lesbian, bisexual, all these things have been here. They have been here, but for some reason the colonizers came and they wanted to streamline things and make things easier to control. If you can, you know, if you're trying to make money or sell something to the biggest group of people, it's easier if you can classify them. So you classify them here, classify them there, and boom, you know what to make. Simple, you don't have to think much about it. But you have 8 billion people on the planet, and you expect them all to just be as they are, you know? So whenever you try to talk about these things, whenever you try to share light, the gay agenda comes up. And so my post was about Jojo Siwa, I believe, is how you pronounce her name. And the thing was, she was at the Nickelodeon Awards, and she brought her girlfriend with her, and they kissed on camera, and pictures were taken, and you didn't hear much about it. But when Lil Nas X kissed a guy on BET on TV, you heard so many people came out and they had so many things to say. And whenever he does something, typically a lot of people will come out and have something to say. And so I posted that, someone else posted that picture and said, hey, how come when she does it, there's not like a big outrage? People are not going crazy, people are not getting mad, people are not saying, oh, there's a gay agenda. And so I shared it. And of course, people don't like to be backed into a corner, or they don't like to actually see facts. So I had people reply to that post, and they actually doubled down. That's the thing. When you talk about this topic to people, the ones that have made up their mind, they'll say that they're open-minded. They'll say they love gay anything. They'll always say, "Don't put it in my face. Don't put it in my face." Like, don't they realize how horrible that is? You're asking people to not be themselves. Now, Jojo Siwa is an 18-year-old girl. 18 years old. 18 years old. That's an adult, you know, and she has a girlfriend, and anybody else can go. Like, if you're a heterosexual couple, man and a woman, you go on the awards, you kiss, no big deal. No one's saying, don't put that in my face. Like, it's okay, be straight, but don't do it in my face. If you're gonna kiss your partner, only do it in your home. You know, there was this lesbian couple that were kissing at a pool one time, and then someone tried to shame them. Someone called the cops on this couple. They called the cops, and the cops came in. The cops was like, they're not doing anything wrong. And then the people that tried to get them kicked out got kicked out by the cops, and everyone was just like, shame, 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 shame. Look it up. It's an amazing story. It's like you can see now how the world is going. They're trying to get us to fight with each other, but a lot of us are deciding instead, let's work together. Let's seek to understand each other. Because with 8 billion people in this world, we're bound to be different, and it's a lot better to actually celebrate our differences rather than like fight and say one is better than the other. Because right now, so many people are just so happy to just like wipe out a whole group of people. They really just want to wipe out a whole group of people, and they think that this stuff is backed by religion. It isn't. Even Christianity, the one I feel like is where people hate on gays the most, it's not backed by that, because the original scripture talks about.
Oh,
There we go. yeah, the original scripture did not have anything to say about man laying with man. It had something about man laying with boy. It had something about man laying with boy. And it's funny how, no, actually it's not funny. It's crazy how they changed that and made it man should not lay with man. And then what was happening in the churches? These pastors, these priests, they were touching little boys. So they took that out, and then they were doing that behind closed doors. Isn't that wild? So people really double down because they don't want to say that gay people are normal. Like I forget exactly when they finally said that being gay was not a disorder or not a mental illness. Some people still think that it is. Some people are still living way back then. Um, but yeah, even the religions don't support this either. So until people choose to re-educate themselves, because this is going to be a time, and you would think during this pandemic would have been a great time to re-educate yourself, but it seems like a lot of people have only gotten worse since then. Like this pandemic, I I did my research. I did my research on myself and on society, on all these LGBTQ topics. I did my research, and I still have so much to learn. There is a lot to learn, and I understand. As we get older, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's BS. Keep on learning. If you keep learning every day, it's a habit, and you're gonna keep wanting to learn and keep wanting to expand, and it's actually good for you. Once you stop learning, you're actually dead. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. So you don't want her. So when I posted that, they said, "Oh, some people were like, well, I don't want to see that either." I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. You don't want to. So you don't want this 18-year-old girl to be able to kiss her partner in public without fear of retaliation. You don't want that. Don't put it in your face. What's being put in your face? Love. Two people loving each other is being put in your face, and that's a bad thing. And so, like, yeah, they were doubling down on that. I'm like, and that's when, like, representation matters. Representation truly does matter. Like, I grew up in this society where men were taught to be hyper masculine. We're taught to chase women. Like, we would validate ourselves by how many women that we were sleeping with. And I remember when I was younger, in my mind, like saying, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to chase women. I don't want to try to have sex with as many women as possible. But all my guy friends, that's what they were doing. They would talk about having threesomes. They would talk about running trains on people, things like that. And I'm just like, well, I can't do that. Like, I'm shy. Like, I'm so scared to even talk to girls. So and when I was in Haiti, I went to an all boys school, so I wasn't even around girls when I was younger. So like, I didn't know how to talk to girls or anything like that. And I didn't get this cute and buff. I was skinny. I did not have a beard. I did not have locks. So I wasn't as handsome as I am now. So like back then, it was tough for me. But I was trying and trying. And when you caught up having to put on this performance of hyper masculinity, this performance of trying to get as many women. Like they teach guys to get a bunch of women, and they teach women about purity culture. Don't open your legs, don't have sex. If you have too many numbers, you're gonna be called a whore, and things like that. So it's so backwards. And I feel a lot of us are finally coming out of that. But they teach you that, and it's like every guy tries to do that, every girl tries to do that. Everyone's trying to do the same thing, and there's no true individuality, there's no true creativity, there's no true self-expression. And like I've said before in my videos, a lack of expression leads to depression. So many people are not truly expressing themselves. Like recently, at a recent job that I had, there was two employees working at two different stores, right? And one was gay, out in the open, and this guy was actually, he was, I would say, what's the word called, androgynous. Many people did not know whether he was a man or a woman. They would always ask, is he a man or a woman, And eventually we're gonna get to a point where you don't assume anymore. You do not assume anybody's gender, do not assume their preferences, do not assume their sexual orientation, do not assume. When you assume, you make an ass out of you, and you just don't assume. Like, we're gonna get to a point where we start asking each other, what are your pronouns, so I can address you properly, But like, yeah, so he was androgynous and he was gay, and the other one, never asked him what his orientation was, but he always was talking about girls, that's what guys feel like. Guys get together, they talk about girls, talk about sports. I'm like, come on, move on. Like, I like to talk about other things. I love talking about astrology, numerology, the earth, spirituality, um, plants, flowers, fruits, healthy food, working out. I love talking about a wide variety of things. Um, but come to find out, he ended up matching with the gay coworker on the Grinder app. I'm like, bruh, like there's so many down low, and we know about this. We know that this stuff is going on. We know that there are people that are down low. Grown men. Some of these men are like into gangs. They're gang banging. They're gang bangers that are down low. You know, there are people slanging, like killing people, killers that are down low. You talking about people these people are not afraid to kill another human being, but they're afraid to come out about their sexuality. Now you tell me that people are being true to themselves in this world. No, people are living on fear. And that's just a death sentence. I've lived on fear. Like after I've, introduced plant medicines into my life, magic mushrooms, and others like ayahuasca and things like that, and really having gone within, and I do yoga as well. So I'm constantly going within my body, within my spirit, and seeing what wants to express itself and listening to my body. And like after doing that, I've had to just be. I've realized, especially even when I smoke cannabis, I realize what my body wants to do. And even Lil Nas X mentioned this in his interview. He says he's a self healer, and I resonate with that so much. We can do so much healing on our own, by ourselves, within our own bodies. These bodies have so much information, so much knowledge stacked right in here. Very spiritual dude. But like yeah, so now when I'm so in tune now, like I'm able to do a lot of things to heal myself. Like I haven't been to the doctors in years, and when I left veganism, my body was tore up. My body was like broken down. I was full pain all over my body, and I've healed myself through just incorporating animal products back into my diet, through yoga, through Pilates, through a lot of stretching, as well as twerking too. Twerking is something that my body naturally wants to do, and I realized that in me myself, I've come out as non-binary because I, you know, I don't hate my body, but there's a lot of things that I love that typically a woman would do. And sometimes I just feel very feminine, and I love being my feminine energy. And you look at any culture, like I said, Voodoo, India, Hindu, everything like that, some of the gods or some of the laws they call them in Haitian Voodoo, like they sometimes come as male, sometimes they come as female. So this is nothing new. This is something that's been here. But people will try to tell you, oh, it's new, it's an agenda, but that is not the case. So yeah, it's not an agenda. If there was an agenda, it would be a straight agenda. There's been a straight agenda, and I explained it at the beginning of this video. The straight agenda has been here, it's still here, and people are still fighting for it. And what you want to look up is compulsory heterosexuality. That's been a factor for so long that a lot of people really don't know how they truly identify because they've never questioned it. There's been so many women that just thought, oh, I'm supposed to be with a man, and then when they don't get attracted to a man or they can't get attracted to a man, they think something's wrong with them. They never thought, oh, maybe I'm a lesbian or maybe I'm bisexual. And then if you do go away from that, like I was just watching Professor Watson and the Wonder Women, and they ended up being in a polyamorous relationship, and at the time it was outlawed to be gay. Like it was even women being with other women was outlawed. Like when they found out that they were in this three-way relationship, they all lost their jobs. Back then they all lost their jobs. And still nowadays, you look at polyamorous relationships, it's happening more and more, but it's still being shunned. People would still rather cheat on their spouse than bring up the conversation, maybe adding somebody in. Not to say that you need to go that way, but you can. It's an option. And then again, one thing I'll say about that, it's not polyamory versus monogamy. You always in life you have options. Give people options. Why put yourself in a box and then just stay there? Why limit your options? Try some things out. You only live once. Yes, you have multiple lives, but you can only live this life once. Be in this body once. And for some reason, we're trying to make it really hard for people. And what I'm seeing is we're doing our best to really try to control other people. Rather than being happy for people for doing what is good for them, we're always talking about doing what's good for society. That's something else they'll bring back, like, oh, gay people, we need to have kids in order to continue growing as a population. As if LGBTQ people cannot have kids. They can. Like, I'm part of the LGBTQ community and I have two daughters. And I'll probably have more kids, you know? So there's tons of people in the LGBTQ community, LGBTQIA plus community that can have children and they can adopt as well. I've not seen a valid argument against this. All they're using is fear. Like that's the only tool that the colonizers have ever had is fear. You know, that's it. All they've ever had is fear. And love is the answer. I was thinking about this earlier today, about love. And I'm all about it. I'm all about love, spreading peace. A lot of the songs that I listen to, like Trevor Hall, Nako Bear, Xavier Rudd, Sat Sang, you know, just to name a few. There's so many more. If you ever want me to share a playlist with you, I'll share it with you. And I went through a time in my life where I literally just listened to that kind of music. I stopped listening to secular music, or I stopped listening to rap. I stopped listening to a lot of things that were just, you know, just the regular stuff that people listen to all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I felt like it was like low vibration music, and I just wanted to be high vibes. And that music is definitely high vibe, and it feels really, really good. And it's very healing. There's so many messages about love. But then you come into the real world, you're like, man, it's like people are not really about that energy. They're not really about that. They're not about that vibe, you know. It's tough to carry that energy into Babylon, where people are always angry all the time, yelling at each other, killing each other, things like that. And you listen, you see the music. It's all about killing, drugs, violence. You know, calling women bitches, calling women hoes. Clearly, I'm not gonna monetize this video because I'm cussing. But yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and you know, those music. Sometimes I do listen to them now. You know, now I just kind of I wanna be balanced, so I just listen to a whole bunch of things. I listen to whatever, and I just know how to be balanced within myself. Like I can take things in. It doesn't have to transform me. It doesn't have to change me. I'll take the good and leave out the bad. You know. But I thought about it today. I was thinking, imagine taking someone that, like the baby, for instance. I love the baby. He's a great rapper. But he recently said some nasty things about HIV, people dealing with HIV. He said some nasty things about gay people. He said some nasty things about women as well. So he like hit it on so many people, all within like a minute of just being on the stage, and he almost got canceled for it. And it was just nasty. But imagine someone like him, the way that he raps. Imagine him like getting him to rap about love and unity and how we are one. You know, imagine all these rappers that are so talented. Instead of rapping about being better than others, stepping on others, and all like that, imagine them using like, yo, okay, so I came from this, and now I realized the answer is love, peace and love. And as I say peace and love, someone you should definitely check out. His name is Mondrell. A lot of songs, he does songs about manifestation, peace and love, unity, yoga, and things like that. But imagine if we had more people in the mainstream talking about that. That would be beautiful. I actually think Lil Nas X is going to be one of those people that talk about these things because he doesn't talk so much junk. You know, he brags a little bit. He's in his ego a little bit, but not anywhere near as much as the other mainstream artists are. And if we can get this kind of stuff more into the mainstream, if we can get LGBTQIA plus people more into the mainstream, that'll be beautiful. Because these people, so many people don't know anything about them. You talk about the medical industry, they don't know. A lot of doctors still don't know much about transgenders. They don't know much about intersex people, and you know, and they don't know how to. And psychiatrists, they're not gonna know how to deal with these people. They're not gonna know how to deal with the non-binary people. I've wanted to speak to a therapist, but I spoke to one, and I could already tell that he was gonna tell me some crazy stuff that would not be in line with me. Like he doesn't understand what I'm going through. You know, this has not been studied. Like what I go through on a regular basis is so magical. It's practically one of the only reasons that I'm here. I'm here because I do love myself. I do. but sometimes I feel like that's not enough. You know, I'm here for my daughters. You know, but ever since I've realized that I'm non-binary and I've been going towards doing more so what's good for me, so that way I can be happy, so that way I can get up every single day and do what I need to do. It's been something that's been against the world. Now my identity and how I identify is is always being called an agenda. Every day I see agenda, 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 agenda. I'm like, if you did the research and you see what non-binary people go through, you see what bisexuals go through, you would realize that there is no way I would pick this as like a way to get clout at all. Like this, like I've cried. Like I've cried myself to sleep since identifying this shit because like it just makes me see a lot of hate in the world, and I'm so thankful for social media because yes, I can get some hate on social media, but I can also find people that I can connect with, and that's beautiful because I don't always have that around me. Ever since I've identified this way, I've only seen one person like out wearing a dress, just one person, like one man wearing a dress. So like I don't see like people like me around, like men that will, you know, express themselves in a feminine manner. I don't see that around me at all. So I'm typically the only one. And it's nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking. I'm talking about like I'll break out in sweat, I'll be so anxious. One time I sat in the car for like 40 minutes before I got out because I was so nervous. I didn't want anybody to say nothing. But it's teaching me a lot. You know, I've lived most of my life in fear, doing what I needed to do to be accepted and to stay under the radar. Part of that was like when I was a kid, I had to do it because if I didn't stay under the radar as a kid, it just meant beatings. You know, like they used to beat. I grew up in Haiti. They used to beat you. Like they, you know, whatever they could get, branches, you know, pieces of wood, anything they had, they would just beat you with it. So I really did my best to stay under the radar, but I'm done staying under the radar. And part of the reason why they hate Lil Nas X so much is he's not staying under the radar. He even said it himself. He talked to himself when he was little. He said, you know, don't be that gay guy. Don't be that like be gay, but don't be that gay. Like don't be out. Don't be proud. Don't be flamboyant. He told himself. But now he's like, I don't care. I'm taking my mask. I'm being as flamboyant as I need. And I have had moments where I'm just like, wow, like I really want to be like flamboyant. I want to be like more like, you know, happy because gay means happy, just more hyper in how I express myself. And I'll feel guilty. I feel ashamed. Like man, like I'm a strong black man. I can't be all flamboyant. I can't be soft. You know, I can't be soft. I can't be soft because my anger and my strength and what I've been putting on the outside, like that's my defense, you know. So it's like I have to drop my defenses and I have to be vulnerable to my own emotions, vulnerable to my own feelings, vulnerable to my own expression, and that's a tough thing to do when you haven't been doing it most of your life, when you've been talking so out of it. And I noticed how much stiffness that it brings me. And that's why I dance, that's why I stretch, that's why sometimes I scream and I just shake. You know, all that, you know, you do all this stuff in yoga too. Like, yoga is such a powerful tool. If I didn't have yoga, I do not know how I would handle this. So I want to talk more about this stuff. I know this video is pretty long. If you stay with me, that's awesome. I know this video is very long, but I definitely want to do more videos like this and help people that are coming into this identity or whatever identity it may be. It doesn't have to be non-binary, it could be trans, it could be whatever, but I would love to help give you the tools that you need in order to really grow through it. You know, this does not have to kill you. And if you don't have anybody near you, social media can be a great help for that. And that's what I want all my spaces online to be safe spaces for us to talk, to communicate, to learn, to grow together because our history has been erased. So we have to learn that history and now we have to start writing the history and we're gonna have to make our own movies, make our own TV shows, you know, make our own content. We're gonna make the content so that the world can see us, you know, the world can see us. And the last thing I'll say too, being black, a lot of black people think, oh, gay people are gonna have more rights than black people, but there are black gay people. What about them? When the Black Lives Matter movement was happening, some people really wanted to like have nothing to do with black gay people, but you cannot be about black power and ignore gay people. There's tons of us. And the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is the fact that out of all the communities in the black community, more people are more people tend to identify as trans in the black community more than any other community. So the fact that we are so homophobic in this community is killing us. Homophobia is killing us. It's killing us. And when it's killing us, it's hurting the whole world. Because at the end of the day, we are all connected. Whatever is hurting any group is hurting everybody because we breathe the same air, we drink the same water, we're on the same boat. And when we can figure that out, that's when we can truly move forward. That's why I always talk about the Rainbow Warriors. The Rainbow Warriors are going to be the ones speaking of love. And yes, we're speaking of love, we're speaking of peace and love, but we're also ready to fight too. Not just with our words, but some of us are going to fight with our fists, if it comes to that. But love is the answer. I really want to help people get to that feeling that we are all one. I still remember when I really truly felt that when I was walking in the woods and I looked at to see, I saw how interconnected the trees were, and I just felt a connection with everything around me. And that just made me feel like I belong here. That was the first time I felt like I belonged here. So, let's help people to feel like they belong in their bodies. Let's help people to feel like they belong on this earth. Let's help people see themselves somewhere. Let's help them be represented. Why do these homophobic people hate seeing people other than themselves? Do they not have enough media that shows what they are is already accepted and loved? Like, no one's attacking you. No one's attacking straight people. People just want to be able to kiss their partner in public, hold hands with their partner in public, without fear, without anxiety. Can you imagine living with anxiety for your whole life for that? And that's something that we can help each other with. So that's my video, man. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, let me know what kind of topics you want regarding this. And spread the word about the straight agenda. If you got a platform, please spread the word about the straight agenda, about compulsory heterosexuality, because that's what's been happening. There is no gay agenda. Gay people are being killed, they're being bullied, they're being hated, and you can't even celebrate them without somebody getting mad. And how would black people feel if white people were still doing that to them? If they are some white people still doing that to black people, how would they feel if they were in that position? It's crazy to see a marginalized group of people hate on another marginalized group of people, and it doesn't need to happen. It's never been a versus. It's not gay versus straight. It's not monogamy versus polyamory. It's never been a versus. Variety is the spice of life, and we need variety. All right. I love y'all. See you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.